Have you ever stopped and asked yourself, maybe I'm just tired? Maybe I've been pushing too hard, doing too much, trying to force things, and maybe my mind, my body, my heart, my soul is just tired and begging me to slow down, to rest, to feel. Because the truth is, you cannot grow, you cannot build, you can't even regulate if you're in a dysregulated state. And if you're constantly moving and forcing and chasing, sometimes the season that you're in might be asking you to actually slow down, to rest, to not earn giving yourself what it is that you truly need. Hello, I'm Sonia, and I am actively learning to move or act before I'm ready and to stay when things get hard or uncomfortable or feel a little bit too brand new, just a touch longer. And as I always say, if you are on this journey too, I welcome you. And I have to say, this video concept feels deeply personal. I mean, they all feel personal and they're all motivated by the season that I am in and then experiences that I'm currently having. And this one was a really tough one for me, especially because I felt like I've been doing it for a very long time and recently realized that maybe I wasn't as good as I thought I was. And that is about honoring the season that you're in. That not every season is meant for growth, for building, for external visibility, for performing, for delivering, for executing. Some seasons aren't even built for, strategizing or thinking or innovating or creating. Like some seasons are really meant for honoring yourself, your experience, for resting, for, dare I say it, slowing down. And I think I've recently been humbled, and if you're someone that is used to executing, performing, that is fueled by your commitment to yourself and discipline and devotion and resilience, it can be very hard to accept if you're in a season that's asking you to maybe take it down a notch, move a little slower, show yourself grace and love and a little bit of playfulness instead of pushing yourself and trying so hard and thinking that there's something you need to fix. And that last line is a really tough one for me because subconsciously, I didn't even realize I was in a constant state of feeling like there was something that was broken or that wasn't working or that I needed to fix. And a long time ago, I embraced rest. And I think about this in my corporate career, in the way that I operate, and in the advice I give to other people. It's rest is so important. Sometimes you need to slow down before you can speed up. And it's so unbelievably true. But if you're resting and the whole time you're thinking about what you should be doing, not rest. If you are having a hard day and and you need to cry or yell or let it all out, and then you feel guilty or you get upset with yourself because you should be over it, or it shouldn't be that hard, or you start to compare yourself to other people that quote unquote did it better. That's not rest. That's not honoring yourself. And if you do take a day to rest, not move your body, watch a movie, eat something truly rich and delicious, even though you haven't worked out or earned it. But then the next day you double down tenfold because you gave yourself a day of rest, not honoring yourself. And there are some seasons, and I think the season that really comes to mind is where you're potentially grieving. And you could be grieving an actual loss. You could be grieving a connection, a partner, a relationship. You could be grieving a job, a role, an identity. Like, grief is different when we intellectualize it. But for our body, if we are processing any sort of loss and it had a deeper meaning to us, sometimes much deeper than we realize, sometimes that season is really just about moving a little bit more slowly and showing yourself grace, love, and compassion instead of getting fixated on what you're not doing or on the fact that you should be moving faster or doing it differently. Or sometimes it's not even about channeling that emotion and that feeling and that experience into something productive. Sometimes it's just about letting yourself be sad or letting yourself sleep. And that season might last a lot longer than you want it to or you expect it to. But what we don't realize is every time we give ourselves a hard time for slowing down, or we tell ourselves we should be over something that really hurt or that was really hard, or we tell ourselves that it should be easier, or we start comparing ourselves to everyone around us that is doing it faster, better, or it seems so much easier. First of all, it's probably not. You're never in someone else's you're never in someone else's internal experience. But we compare our internal lives and our internal experience to what we see externally. And we tell ourselves we're doing it wrong. And we don't realize that that is a form of rejecting ourselves, of telling ourselves that we're not enough, and of abandoning ourselves. And it makes the grief and the season so much harder and longer than it needs to be. And I think this is especially true, when it comes to healing. And I'm guilty of this. And I know I hear more and more people talking about being guilty of this too. Is like we get on this constant quest of feeling like we need to fix ourselves or constantly be moving forward. And sometimes the season that we're in is about embracing and loving ourselves, even though we don't have everything that we want, even though we didn't cross everything off of our to-do list, and even though we didn't quote unquote earn it. You're not broken. You're not a machine. You're not something that someone can come and kind of tune up and you're suddenly going to start working again. You're human. And you have feelings and emotions and experiences. And some experiences hit you so much harder because of what you've gone through and the meaning that you've attached to it. And that's okay. So I didn't want this video to be long, and I didn't really want to go into too much detail or explanation. I think, if anything, I want this video, if you're watching it, to give you permission to slow down or to be sad or angry or upset. And, there's always differences in giving ourselves grace and softness as a form of avoidance. But until you're able to genuinely give yourself compassion and grace and softness and admit that sometimes changes, either that we choose or we don't choose, especially the ones we don't choose, but even the ones we choose and we want, are hard, and they come with grief, and they come with tears and fear. And some days we have all the energy in the world and we want to move forward and channel things into being productive and performing and moving one step closer to building our dreams. And some days we just need to rest because we're tired. And honestly, that's justification enough. You don't need to earn slowing down. You don't need to earn resting. And if you are grieving any sort of loss, it's okay that it's taking you longer to be okay with it than you'd like. And maybe tell yourself that. The biggest thing that has helped me on my journey to loving myself, to being more authentic, to showing up, to actually go after what it is I say I want, has been to stop judging myself and to stop telling myself I'm doing it wrong or that I'm broken, to stop being so unbelievably hard on myself. Something I used to say all the time was, you just need to get your shit together. And thankfully, I had a really good friend who caught me saying it literally all the time and said, stop it. First of all, you have your shit together. Second of all, it's annoying. And honestly, it was the best thing she could have ever said to me because I do. I show up my best. I show up in my job. I show up in my friendships and my relationships. I always move forward with the best answers and knowledge and experience that I have in that moment. I move. I take care of myself. I show myself love and grace and compassion in the only way that I know how. And I genuinely am doing my best. And if you only have 10% that day, if you're exhausted and you're depleted and you do not have capacity because life is hard and it's pulling at you from every single angle and direction, but you give 10%, that is your best. And do not judge yourself. And if you had a few bad weeks and then you woke up and you had one good day, that is one good day. And one good day will eventually, roll into 2 good days and 3 good days. Just give yourself grace. Stop judging yourself. Allow yourself to slow down. Honor the season you're in and honor the fact that maybe this season you're just tired. And life will always ebb and it will always flow. So if it's a hard season, if it's a dark season, if it's a slow, if it's a sad season, that's okay. Love yourself through it. Accept yourself through it. And the tides will change. The bright season is just around the corner, and you'll build and you'll grow and you'll sparkle and you'll shine again. I promise you that. And if you're in a tough season, I see you. And I think that's it for today. Always sending love, always sending light. And I hope you have a beautiful day. We'll see you next week.